Welcome back. We witnessed a number of presidential or national initiatives which targeted the conditions of life of Egyptian citizens in all domains, all over Egypt. When it comes to Haya Karima or Decent Life Initiative, to Takaful and Karama, Solidarity and Dignity Initiative, to We Are All One or Kulluna Wahad, you are going to find on the ground those initiatives taking place and implemented to serve all Egyptians in all over the country. To shed more light on this, to shed more light on the importance of our national initiatives and on the steps taken to be implemented on the ground that effectively and tangibly, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone Dr. Marian Girguis, our journalist and researcher. Thank you very much for being with us, Dr. Marian.
Thank you for having me this morning, and good morning to you and your dear guests.
Thank you very much for being with us, Dr. Marian. And before going into the details of these initiatives, to what extent do you think that these initiatives gained the trust and confidence of Egyptians? As we were, even in the media, very transparent in conveying the messages and on saying what's going on the ground, and even talking to the citizens, speaking about how they received these initiatives and to what extent they benefited from them. How do you see this, or what's your vision regarding this?
Yes, let me in the beginning tell you that, of course, the citizens and all the Egyptian state value so much all these presidential and the national presidential initiatives. In 2014, the Egyptian state had a vision, and of course, the political leadership honors the Egyptian personality, honors the Egyptian citizens, very keen on their dignity and very keen on their rights, trying to soften the hard times we are passing by. Maybe all over the world is passing by very hard times economically, and these challenges all over the world, especially the economic challenges that even is questioning our food security, our water security, the energy security. So here comes the importance of the Egyptian or the national initiatives. Let me tell you, all over the global economic associations, the question was how Egypt will handle this challenge. We are in a debate how Egypt can achieve the economic stability and better life standards together in the same equation. We are facing and we are conflicting objects. On one hand, the urgency to regain our economic stability with very low budgets, and in the same time we are trying to preserve better standards of living and fight poverty.
And to build the national mega projects, to build the new 4 generations or smart cities, to have all this side by side, because many would think that whenever we are that much interested in those national mega projects, we are going to forget about Decent Life Initiative, for example. But no, and Decent Life Initiative is serving more than 55 million Egyptians nationwide. How do you see this equation?
Yes, let me tell you that the Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli said the mega project of the 19th century was the Suez Canal. In the 20th century or the 20th century, it was the Aswan Dam. In 21st century, the Decent Life. It's the major project in the modern era, and of course, Decent Life is just an umbrella for many presidential and national initiatives. The idea of national initiative itself is to avoid many bureaucratic work and to make things go more quicker and more easier in for the benefit of the Egyptian citizen, of course. Also, let me tell you, if we are talking about Haya Karima or Decent Life, that it was necessary to move on a very large scale for the first time in the modern era of Egypt within a very framework of integration and consolidation of efforts among many ministries and many national institutions like the private sector, like the civil society, and even the UN is praising the Decent Life and is considering it one of the most important and more valuable practices all over the world.
In addition to empowering women and youth.
Of course, empowering women and youth is for their benefit and for the benefit of the Egyptian state. When we are embracing the women in the economy, it's giving benefits and it's adding value for the economy.
And with, for example, We Are All One or كلنا واحد initiative, and it's really continuing its activities all over Egypt, and with the cooperation of the private sector, supermarkets, hypermarkets, taking into consideration that there is a global economic crisis, as you've kindly mentioned, but we are up to it. And as we managed what was going on worldwide with COVID-19, we are continuing with facing the current challenges regarding the Ukrainian-Russian crisis and the food insecurity, the supply chain problem, stuff like that. How do you see the importance of We Are All One initiative, for example, as one of our mega or national mega initiatives?
Yes, actually, I will go and tell you about All-in-One initiative, but let me tell you in the beginning that the economic challenges that we are facing worldwide included inflation that had clung to multi-year hikes, and the central banks were forced to increase the interest rate. Also, let me tell you that Kristina Georgieva, the head of the International Monetary Fund, said that the year 2023 is expected or was expected to be the third worst year for the global economic growth.
Yeah.
Of course, because of the geopolitical tension and the energy crisis. So Egypt had a vision, and Egypt was practicing many measures to lower this inflation, to lower this crisis over the Egyptian citizen. And of course, All-in-One initiative is one of the important initiatives that were launched in 2018 as per the directives of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi by the Ministry of Interior to provide high quality and goods, of course, from food and life essentials and school essentials at affordable prices at many outlets all over the governorates, and controlling the price hikes in the market. We will find many goods, as I told you, all over the governorates of Egyptian governments and cities at many outlets. This initiative, or like this initiative, gives the citizen or the Egyptian person some security that he will find goods at available prices in many governmental outlets.
And how do you see the participation or the share of the private sector in such initiatives, as all the time and in many occasions, starting from President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to Prime Minister Dr. Madbouli to all the top executives we have, are really keen to invite more investors, more private sector companies, and to let them know that their share is very much essential and it's very much welcomed by the political leadership?
Yes, of course, the political leadership and President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi directed many times and ordered that we must be attracting investors at this time more than any other time. Also, the measures or the efforts done by the Egyptian state all over, even decent life, by the way, when the investors, the foreign investors are seeing that the real change is happening on Egyptian grounds, and the Egyptian soil is really changing, getting rid of the slums, relocating city, rehousing to fulfill and to rehouse even the slums and getting rid of the slums. Of course, this is a big attraction to the foreign investors and to invest in Egypt.
Dr. Marian, also I'd like to shed more light on the the NGOs, because now I think we do have the culture of volunteering more than any time in our modern history, and to take into consideration that it's now playing a big role. For example, I think today it's the laws of the NGOs is going to be discussed in the national dialogue sessions, so it's giving more importance to volunteering and to the NGOs, and to make them part and parcel of our community. How do you see this, and how do you see this as a positive part of our national initiatives?
Yes, such national initiatives requires many efforts from different sectors, as I said in the very beginning, not only the governmental efforts, but also the non-governmental efforts, like the civil society and the private sector. And it's worth telling that the private sector shared with $5.5 billion for the decent life. So all this effort and embracing all these efforts from different sectors is very important. Also the volunteering, as you said, it will be discussed in the national dialogue, and requesting the help and the hands of many youth the idea of volunteering itself is very beneficial for the Egyptian state, and of course it will get, and we will get benefits from this idea. Of course, as I told you, the decent life is in the very beginning it was an idea by the youth that was discussed, and of course it was a very small idea before becoming a mega project for the 21st century.
And I think it's going to be duplicated in other countries, particularly in Africa,
of course,
because now it's a role model, I mean.
Yes, Dr. Hala Said even mentioned that there is a decent life, or this a program, Decent Life for Africa, is being implemented in the coming years. So this is the very core of, or the very top of maturity of the Egyptian state, that it can export a political, or it can export a political experiment like Decent Life.
Yeah. Dr. Marian Girguis, thank you very much for your input, and have a very good day. Well, yes, we are back in our well-deserved position worldwide, and particularly in Africa. Egypt is the role model, is the pioneer when it comes to all fields, let's be accurate, and to take into consideration that our political leadership put the best interest of the Egyptian citizen as a first priority by all means, whether it comes to health, to daily life, to improving the standard of living of the Egyptian citizen. This is to say that we are on the right track. We are on the right track to Egypt 2030, to the new republic. By this, we come to the end of our episode, to come to an end to the breakfast show of today. But tomorrow is another day and another episode. Stay tuned on Nile TV International always for more. And for more details, please log on to www.nileinternational.net. Many thanks for watching. This was Nermeen Abdurrahman.